Welcome to 12 Minutes or Less with the Author. I'm your host, T.L. Brown, but you can call me Tracy. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm excited to welcome back author Rose J. Fairchild to the podcast. Rose juggles her writing around family, pets, and a library job. She lives in the mysterious Catskill Mountains of upstate New York, where all things magical and sometimes terrible live. She's had short stories published in multiple anthologies. She's the author of the celebrated Taste of Faerie series, and she also co-authored a novella with author T.L. Brown, that's me, blending her characters and worlds with mine in a steamy and emotional page-turner. Born of Blood and Sin is her latest book, a dark novella featuring the origin story of her captivating villain, Kylan. Welcome back to the podcast, Rose. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I always love chatting with you.
Wonderful. Let's get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about your new book, Born of Blood and Sin, which just released on April 30th?
Yes, so the story focuses on Kylan Mensruptor, a beautiful prince born to a brainwashed king and a very twisted, bloodthirsty queen. And with his father unable to protect him, Kylan battles his mother's thirst for power and her sick obsession with him all alone. Love, hope, and kindness are tossed aside as he fights for dominance, power, and some semblance of freedom. If Kylan can win the court of blood and bone with his cocktail of rage, mind control, dominance, and seduction, he will finally be free of his abusive mother and rise as king.
It's amazing, and full disclosure, I am a big fan of Kylan. He is a villain, but you know what? Even villains get cheerleaders, and this is an amazing novella origin story. In fact, I want to share a little from a review that I read online. Kylan is calculating, manipulative, and seductive, unapologetically so. Temptation incarnate. He views morality as a product of fear, and by conquering fear, he conquers morality too. There is a venomous allure to him, an addictive obsession, and he thrives on power imbalances to bring his world to its knees. This book will unravel you to your core truths, desires, and vices, to the blood and bone of who you are. It's a superlative, formidable tour de force that will fuse to your soul and haunt you eternally. Wow, I could not say that any better. That is such a beautiful review, and that reader definitely hit it. Having said that, can you share, Rose, with your readers what it's like to explore and write a dark tale that includes different forms of abuse and manipulation? What do you hope your readers will take away from stories like these?
So, first of all, it's very difficult, but also I'm super honored by that review because, yes, the reader 100% got it. But it is really difficult. And some of the more difficult scenes I had to do in short bursts because I would get overwhelmed by the emotion because I tend to immerse myself in the scene. And to a degree, I've been in young Keelan's shoes. So I understand how that abuse can twist you up inside. Um, Feeling his pain, fear, confusion, it brought me back to things that I've experienced, but it also helped me process those things. And writing Kylan showed me the path I could have taken if I chose to continue that cycle of abuse. Um, but I've always believed that there's something more, something better. And I think I want readers to feel how Kylan felt and to understand the constantly unsettled feeling he and many abuse victims face. I want them to see how much it can feel like there's no way out. But I also hope that they see what he suffered and realize he did have a choice. Surviving works for a while, but there's a turning point, a moment of choice. And it's what we pick in that moment that determines how we proceed. Kylan could have seized the things that he dared to dream of in certain scenes if he'd been brave enough. His other choice was to continue the cycle of violence and abuse. And if you've read A Shiver, Rainbow, and Shadow, you kind of know how that ends up. Um, I guess the point is you can suffer, you can break and hurt and rage, but you can also heal. The choice lies within you, and the right path is often the scariest because it's the most unfamiliar.
Absolutely. Wow. And I mean, as you're reading it, and Keelan, he isn't at this, when we meet him in the story, he isn't 5, he's a young man. He's just entering into adulthood. And you see his survival as his resistance. Persistence is resistance. And you do hope, you do, I know I did as the reader. I was waiting for that moment where he could totally become something different. And to some extent, he really did become something different. There were certain things that he did not perpetuate. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to throw a stone. You're not in the, unless you're, well, you're not in those shoes. So it is hard to judge another, but the way you explored that was gritty, graphic, and masterful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's tell our readers what you have for future writing projects. Do you have anything in the works? Are you thinking of something? What can you share?
So I'm actually very close to finishing the third book in the Taste of Faerie series. It's called A Sea of Slights and Promise. And although it includes many familiar characters, it's actually essentially a continuation of Rose Evangeline's storyline after her relationship with Half Demon Sebastian from Your Bellerose Witchline series, and that can be read about in Fairy Fire and Demon Desire. I am sharing chapters of a witchy story that I started probably 2 years or more ago on my Patreon, and just kind of I'm a little stuck in limbo at the moment, trying to finish things up and release a book. So I'm just teasing that along too. And then I have some ideas for maybe exploring some of the other characters within the Taste of Fairy series as maybe interconnected standalones down the road.
Okay, well, sign me up to read all of those in advance. I love the worlds you create, from not just the scenes in the worlds themselves, but your characters. You just describe them so richly, and I can see them, and it's beautiful, and sometimes dark and ugly, and it's just fantastic. So I know for one, I am really excited about the third book in the Taste of Fairy series. And I always can you say that title again? A Sea of.
A Sea of Slights and Promise.
Thank you very much. A shiver of rainbow and shadow. I got down, a swirl of smoke and stars. By the time publication comes out and we're doing another podcast, I'll have the third book in the series totally, totally memorized. Rose, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited that you are here. And readers, listeners, watchers, you can find Rose's books, all of her books on Amazon. I'll have a link below. Her website is rosejfairchild.com. She's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, all those links will be below. Also, she has a Patreon. I'm a member. There are other readers who are members. She releases new things before the public gets to see them. It's a fantastic Patreon. It is my favorite Patreon, and I will have that link below as well. It's very inexpensive. You can't even get a cup of coffee these days for that price. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for being here, and I will see you the next time. Bye. This has been 12 Minutes or Less with the author. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Hope you can join me for the next one. Until then, this is Tracy, aka Author T.L. Brown, signing off.